Few events in history have left a mark as profound as the death of Jesus Christ. However, what many don't realize is that extraordinary phenomena followed his crucifixion. Phenomena that defied natural explanation and reached into the supernatural. These events didn't just mark a moment in history, they forever altered how we view the world and our relationship with God. Today we're going to dive deep into 5 incredible events that followed Jesus' death, and I promise the last one will surprise you. The first of these astonishing events was a great earthquake. Shortly after Jesus gave up his spirit, the earth itself shook. The Gospel of Matthew tells us that the earth shook and the rocks were split. This tremor was no mere physical event, but one that carried deep symbolic meaning. Imagine the scene. Jesus had just died, the sky had darkened, and then, as if the earth itself couldn't remain still in response to such a monumental event, the ground began to tremble violently. This wasn't just a natural disaster, it was as if creation itself was reacting to the death of the Son of God. The very ground, the rocks, the mountains, it all felt the weight of this moment. In Jewish tradition, earthquakes often symbolized God's presence or action. This earthquake, though it occurred in a region near fault lines, was something far greater. It announced to the world that something monumental had occurred, the reconciliation between God and humanity. And this was just the beginning of a series of supernatural occurrences that would forever change the course of history. The second remarkable event involved tombs opening and the resurrection of saints. Matthew recounts that many of the saints who had died were resurrected and appeared to many in Jerusalem. These weren't just any people, but those who had lived righteous lives in past times. As they emerged from their tombs, they didn't simply come back to life. They walked through the streets of Jerusalem, appearing to many. This event foreshadowed the universal resurrection that Jesus had promised, one in which all who believe in him would be resurrected to eternal life. The power that resurrected these saints was a precursor to the power that would fully be revealed 3 days later when Jesus himself rose from the dead. Next, we have one of the most profound and symbolic moments, the tearing of the veil of the temple. At the moment of Jesus' death, the veil of the temple was torn from top to bottom. This veil, which separated the Holy of Holies from the rest of the temple, was thick and massive, about 18 meters high. Only the high priest could enter this sacred space, and only once a year, to make atonement for the sins of the people. But when Jesus died, that veil was torn in two, signaling the end of separation between God and humanity. No longer was access to God limited to priests or specific rituals. Jesus' sacrifice opened the way for all to approach God directly. As the book of Hebrews explains, Jesus became the perfect sacrifice, removing every barrier between us and God. Then, in the middle of this awe-inspiring scene, an unnatural darkness covered the earth. From noon until 3 in the afternoon, the land was shrouded in darkness. This wasn't an eclipse, as the Passover occurs during a full moon, making eclipses impossible. In the Bible, darkness often symbolizes God's judgment. The 3 hours of darkness represented the weight of the sins of the world being placed upon Jesus as he bore the punishment for our transgressions. This was a moment of profound separation from God, as Jesus experienced the depth of abandonment in our place. To those watching, the darkness was a sign of divine wrath, as foretold by the prophet Amos. For us today, it serves as a stark reminder of the cost of Jesus' sacrifice. Finally, the transformation of a Roman soldier stands as a powerful testimony to the impact of Jesus' death. A centurion, who had witnessed the earthquake, the darkness, and the way Jesus endured his suffering, declared, "Truly, this was the Son of God." This Roman soldier, a hardened man used to violence and death, was so deeply affected by the events surrounding Jesus' crucifixion that he recognized the divine nature of the man he had just helped crucify. His declaration is significant because it shows how even the most hardened hearts can be transformed by the power of the cross. The love and sacrifice of Jesus have the ability to reach and change anyone, no matter their past or present. These 5 events, the earthquake, the resurrection of the saints, the tearing of the temple veil, the darkness, and the transformation of the centurion, serve as powerful reminders of the depth and significance of Jesus' death. They show that his crucifixion was not merely a historical event, it was a cosmic moment that changed the fabric of reality itself. It was a moment that opened the way for a new relationship between God and mankind, a moment that continues to resonate through time. As we reflect on these incredible events, let us remember the profound impact of Jesus' sacrifice and what it means for us today. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you for taking the time to explore these life-changing moments. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What event touched you the most? May God bless your life, and I look forward to seeing you next time.